Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from Bonn, Germany. My name is Lenny Martini, Assistant Program Officer for the Inclusion and Youth Employability Team at UNESCO-UNEVOC International Center for DFED. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the second day of the BeChangeMaker Youth Festival 2025, a virtual festival with the theme Igniting Change, Empowering Action, that aim to equip participants, young people, teachers, trainers, and educators with tools, networking opportunities, and inspirations to amplify their social impact. Yesterday, on day one, we had amazing sessions and insightful sessions with lines of inspiring speakers. We started with the welcome remarks by program partners. We had Friedrich Hubler, head of UNESCO-UNEVOC, Daniel Mason, the director of Global Communication Sustainable Impact from HP, and Grace Lang, senior manager partnership programs at Doorcas International. They took us through their missions and how they are supporting young change makers to contribute to solving social and environmental issues in their communities. And then we invited Selina Paris, the director of Celine Foundation and the co-creator of the Bleed God movement from Sri Lanka, and Kafeto Tachara, CEO and founder of Flush in Namibia. Both are leading social entrepreneurs who shared with us their experience in finding solutions, creating value for communities through inclusive social business models and ways to resource innovations, which is also examples of circular economy business that work and sustainable. We also had the privilege to learn from Mr. Teddy Rouge, the founder and CEO of Raintree Farms Uganda, in the Diary of CEO session. We learned about his motivation to stay committed to his business despite various challenges. We learned about his pivotal moments in growing and leading the company, and most importantly, his powerful daily habits. After the short coffee break, we had Del Titus Bawa, founder and CEO of Web3 Africa Group, and Simon Schmidt, managing director of Just Skills Hub, sharing about the efforts of companies and different institutions in welcoming a dynamic future of work, building adaptive toolkits, and encouraging young people to stay adaptive, resilient, and stick into the learning mindset. We had many interesting questions and interactive discussions with the speakers during the networking mixer session. And after the lunch break, we continued with the mentorship session from Nisani Nanasurian, Manager Programming at King Trust Canada. She took us through some steps to maintain mental health and avoid burnout, which is an important topic, not only for young entrepreneurs, but for all of us. We learn not only about being resilient in her session, but also to further benefit and grow from stress and challenges, developing what she called anti-fragility ability to be successful in the future. And after that, we had Mr. Marco Schwertel, Director of Global Policy and Strategy at HP, sharing with us about the free online learning content from HP. So there are HP Learning Initiative for Entrepreneurship, or we call HP Live, with more than 30 courses on entrepreneurial learning and mindset. He also explained about HP Gaming Garage and HP AI, Teacher Academy, and digital literacy for teachers. After that, we had Lucia Raffaele from Junior Enterprise Europe in the Micro Learning Hub. She shared about practical approaches on raising funds for social enterprise. She highlights the importance of storytelling, tools, and platforms to convince the investors and providers of grants and awards that young social entrepreneurs, they're not just kids, but people who know what to do with the money and to drive social change and create betterment for their communities. And after that, we had the alumni limelight from MedFax Health 2023 alumni on their efforts to provide access to healthcare through technology. We will hear again from them today in one of the sessions. And then we close the day with some insightful remarks from Grace Lang from WorldSkills International. And now, to take us through the agenda for day 2, kindly allow me to invite our moderator for today, our young moderator, Abayomi Odole, a visionary Nigerian entrepreneur and doctor of veterinary medicine at the University of Ibadan, whose work sits at the intersection of science, education, and technology. Very interesting. He's a co-founder of Doorcas Africa, an edtech providing vet as a service and reducing livestock mortality through disease prediction and AI. We will hear about the Doorcas Africa also in one of the sessions today. Now, please join me in welcoming Abayomi. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lenny. It's a very big privilege moderating this session today. And I want to invite everybody again. Thank you for joining in today. And as Lenny said, you can use the Q&A sessions for questions and use the chats for regular stuff. So you wanna chat with other people, you want to make a comment, can feel free to use the chat section. So now we'll be moving to the program. We'll be starting the program with the power of skills in driving social change. And this will be by a very seasoned facilitator. And his name is Kenny Muscat. Kenny Muscat is the program officer, innovation and excellence in technical and vocational educational training at UNESCO-UNEVOC. And Kenny Muscat will be taking us through today's session. He has served as a project manager in UNESCO-UNEVOC, and is also he has been leading projects related to innovation and excellence in Tibet, and is a regional focal point for Europe, CIS, and North America. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's invite Kenny Muscat to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Abayomi, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here today for the second day of the BeChangeMaker Youth Festival. And I would like to start by congratulating the UNESCO-UNEVOC team that worked on this. I'm only coming in here today, so I'm referring to my colleagues, to the World Skills team and also HP Life for organizing this event. And I think it's important as an event because it's putting a spotlight on youth. And it's great also to see the moderator of the day being a young person. So thank you for that, Abayomi. It puts a spotlight on skills development, which is really essential. It puts a spotlight on excellence in TVET as well. We know that TVET suffers from status when compared to academic education, and events like this do help to, yes, make sure that we all understand on the importance and the relevance of TVET. And finally, it also puts a spotlight on the change makers. Next slide, please. So let me start by briefly introducing UNESCO-UNEVOC, especially for those that are new to this organization. We are based in Bonn, Germany, and you can see here the tallest building on the left, just next to the Rhine River. UNESCO-UNEVOC is a UNESCO center, and the focus of the center is technical and vocational education and training, TVET. Our mission is to support UNESCO member states in order to strengthen and upgrade TVET and skills development systems. And we also make our efforts to facilitate cooperation and collaboration among member states on TVET and skills development. And today's event is just one example of that, because we have the private sector engagement supporting UNESCO-UNEVOC World Skills as well to highlight skills development. At the heart of UNESCO-UNEVOC, we have the UNEVOC network, which is a global network of more than 240 UNEVOC centers from over 150 countries. And we have basically UNEVOC centers, 4 types of UNEVOC centers. So we have ministries that are responsible for TVET, we have national bodies, we have universities, research institutions, and we have training providers as well. So we have these 240 UNEVOC centers working together and working with also other TVET stakeholders in their own regions. I would like to mention that an important aspect of our work is, of course, to work towards achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 4, that of offering quality education, in particular quality TVET. And at UNESCO-UNEVOC, we have several projects that we are working on, some of them at global level, continental level, at regional level, at national level and also at TVET provider level. You can find more information if you look at the website of UNESCO-UNEVOC. Next slide, please. So our work at UNESCO-UNEVOC is guided by the UNESCO strategy for TVET for the years 2022 and 2029, and also our medium-term strategy as UNESCO-UNEVOC for the years 2024 and 2026. The strategy for TVET highlights the importance of skills development in 3 areas. So the development of skills for individuals to learn, work, and live, the development of skills for inclusive and sustainable economies, and the development of skills for inclusive and peaceful societies. And this is very important because we need to move away from the narrative that TVET is there to respond to the labor market needs. Of course, that is true, but not only. We need to make sure that TVET is also seen as an enabler for individuals, their journey to learn, work, and live, and also as a means to have inclusive and peaceful societies as well. We have 8 thematic areas that we are working on. And I will briefly mention all of these. Before doing so, I would like to mention that for each of these thematic areas, we have a number of promising practices that we gather from UNEVOC centers and also TVET institutions, because we recognize the importance of highlighting these promising practices so that we can learn from them. We do not have to reinvent the wheel, but what can we learn and how can we improve our own TVET systems or TVET institution or curriculum or whatever. Let me start with lifelong learning. So we support TVET systems and emphasize the importance that TVET is not on its own. It is part of lifelong learning. And later on, I do have a slide on this, but it's important to mention that we emphasize on the importance of flexible learning pathways, skilling, reskilling, upskilling, the use of micro-credentials, for example. Recognizing that we do not have only young people in TVET, but also people that return after working for a certain number of years in industry. So we have also older people. We have women in education. So, for example, a promising practice that I'm remembering at the moment is an institution in Africa that caters for pregnant women and also women that are raising young kids by providing facilities to support them to continue with their education. Equity and inclusion, making sure that TVET is accessible to everyone who wants to learn, who wants to progress in their life, including everyone. So I mentioned women, also other minorities like migrants and refugees, for example, but also making sure that the curriculum is in such a way that students recognize that we are not living and working on our own, but also with others. So putting a spotlight on multiculturalism, for example. Multi-stakeholder engagement with the private sector. I already mentioned the example of HP Life and co-organizing this event. We know the importance of, for example, work-based learning, where the student is not only attending a school or a workshop in a school, but also learning from the place of work. Not only the work-based learning, but also joint research initiatives, for example, where TVET institutions are collaborating with the private sector to find solutions to problems. So we are giving also the possibility for teachers to keep in touch with industry. The green and digital transformation and the important need to have green skills in curriculum and digital skills in curriculum, and highlighting the importance that they go hand in hand. Greening supporting digitalization, digitalization supporting greening. We know the efforts that are being made when it comes to climate change, and we need to have TVET that is ready, prepared to support in that. Artificial intelligence, in the past 2-3 years now, we have heard a lot about artificial intelligence. So how equipped are we to support our students in relating to artificial intelligence, using artificial intelligence in their journey while studying, while working as well. So of course, they need to have also teachers that are equipped with the right skills. Innovation and excellence, highlighting the need that innovation is also very important in TVET, doing things differently, because we need to adapt as the world of work changes. Not only of work, of course, the way we live, the work we study as well, we learn. And finally, when it comes to development of skills for inclusive and peaceful societies, the importance of career guidance in TVET, making sure that we are providing the necessary support to our students to guide them based on what they like to do, what their strengths are. Also highlighting the fact that we do not just need to find a job and work as employees, but we can become entrepreneurs. We can also be employers, and we see a lot of TVET students taking this path. And finally, global citizenship education. And I think now it's also very important, considering what's happening around us, political wars around us, the trade wars. We are not Europeans or Asians or Americans or Africans, but we are world citizens. And we need to make sure that our curriculum also emphasizes the importance of global citizenship, that we need to work together, because ultimately we have to solve common problems that are affecting everyone. Next slide, please. Next slide, please, Aldrich. Thank you. So we find a lot of definitions when it comes to skills. I will just take two from these, like, for example, the first one from ILO, the ability to carry out the tasks and duties of a given job. If we go to the last one from UNESCO, the relevant knowledge and experience needed to perform a specific task or job and or the product of education, training, and experience, which together with relevant know-how are the characteristics of technical knowledge. We need to also remember that when we talk about skills, we should not just focus on skills to perform a specific task, but skills that help us navigate life, navigate us at work, navigate our life in society as well. So something that I see a little bit missing in the different definitions is this component. But if we go to the next slide, please, we can highlight the importance of recognizing the need to look at the technical or practical skills. Yes, so these skills that apply to specific jobs or professions, and also the transversal or soft skills. So these skills that apply to various jobs or professions. So TVET systems need to focus on both of these, the technical and practical skills and the transversal and soft skills, or whatever we call them, 21st century skills. They complement each other. We cannot focus just on one type of skills. We need to have students that understand they need to be an all-rounder and not just be great in technical or practical skills. We need to have teachers that support this idea and make this happen. So they need to have the right methodologies to constantly work on the professional development and learning to support their students, improve the technical but also the transversal skills. We need to have leaders that support development of both the practical and also soft skills. And ultimately, we need to have policymakers that create the necessary structures to support the learners in the development of both types of skills. When we fail, we need to acknowledge the failure and then carry out research to understand what the challenges and barriers are. Before moving to UNESCO-UNEVOC, I spent around 14 years in a UNEVOC center in Malta, a training provider, and for some years I was responsible for the development of curriculum. So I had a lot of discussions with employers, and after 1 or 2 years that we introduced the course, we used to ask like the industry partners, how do you feel about this course? What do you think about the curriculum? And the answer was mostly the same. We are happy with the content that the students are learning, but we have issues because the students that you are that you have at your institution find it difficult to interact with others, to communicate differently, like how to communicate with a colleague or with your supervisor or with a customer, for example, or not understanding the importance of being on time. And that, of course, is a failure. And that is why I mentioned when we fail, we need to acknowledge this failure and address this through research. Let me move to some input from you. We have 3 questions that we're going to show you because we are interested to understand from your perspectives which are the most important skills for social change. So I will give you 30 seconds to access use this barcode to access the Mentimeter questions. Ulrich, maybe also in the chat, we share the website and the code just in case the barcode is not enough. I'm just thinking about this right now. Sorry for that. Thank you, Ulrich. So let's move to the first question. So which 3 practical or technical skills are essential for driving social change, in your opinion? And I would like to emphasize that this is about practical or technical skills. I invite you to access the link that was also shared in the chat and answer the first question. So far, we have replies from 2 persons, and I see 71 persons here. So it seems that we have either a technical issue or you need some more time. We can of course wait. We still have some time. Thank you for your responses. So far, we have 5 responses. I will give you some more time. In the meantime, maybe I mentioned something briefly about the need to understand the social change, and social change often improves societal conditions and the way we learn, work, and live. And there are various drivers for social change, like, for example, technological advancements, environmental concerns, demographic changes, employment, inclusion, crisis. And it's very important to understand that education, including TVET, and that's where we are advocating, has a very important role to drive social change. So in order to drive this social change, which skills, which technical skills are needed? I am realizing that most of you are actually providing answers to what would have been my second question, which was which 3 transversal skills, which is perfectly fine. And I think actually it's very interesting that when I asked this question, and it is clear that here we're talking about practical or technical skills, you still went to the 21st century skills, the soft skills, because of the crucial need for these. So we see here one of the most popular skill here is critical thinking. And of course, this is super important at a time when the challenges become more complex. Showing empathy, I think, very important, especially to what we said earlier on, the wars that we are experiencing. The lack of empathy between nations, the lack of empathy that different communities show towards each other. Time management. I also referred to that when I shared my example of what the private sector representatives were saying about the students not being on time, not recognizing the importance to stick to time. Interpersonal skills, communicating with each other. I would like to mention something about this because we talk a lot about the need to communicate with each other and that our students are not good enough to communicate with each other. And I was a teacher myself until a couple of years ago. And I remember very well that even as teachers, we had huge issues to communicate with each other. Like, for example, sometimes we tried to prepare assignments where 2 or 3 teachers are responsible for it, and I correct part of it, and someone else corrects the other part of it, and we had issues as well. And I think it's good to acknowledge that it's easier said than done to say, okay, we need to improve the students' communication skills. But what about our skills? Because we should be the mentors for the students, the role model for the students. Thank you for your answers. Let me ask Aldrich maybe to skip the second question because this was already answered here and go to the third question. When it comes to the development of skills to drive social change, whose responsibility is this? Who is responsible for the development of skills? And I want to hear your view. So I encourage you to respond to this question so that then we can have a brief discussion. I will give you a few seconds to reply. So far, we do not have responses. I think that you are thinking about this question. I hope actually that you are thinking, but I still see some replies actually in the chat. So maybe there are issues to access the Mentimeter. So thank you, Dr. Bakhtir, for your reply. Please feel free to also reply in the chat if that helps. So here we have families, education institutions, society at large, colleges and universities, the individual, home, schools, ourselves, but we still see that schools seem to have a very important role as well in this. The peers as well, interesting. Yes, we learn from each other as well when we interact with others, and that is why it's very important as well when it comes to updating our teaching methodologies and assessment. We do not focus just on the individual, but also working in teams, so working together even as in assessments, for example. Vocational training partners, I think, that said. Private companies, interesting. I wasn't thinking of this, but yes, earlier on I was referring to work-based learning because learning is not happening just in the school, but also in the private sector. So communities is also popular with you, and which of course makes sense because, as we mentioned before, we are not living in isolation, but we live in a community. Okay, let me move on to the final slide, if I remember well, and the presentation. To start concluding. First of all, of course, thank you so much for your replies. Later on, we'll have some time as well to ask questions, make comments, and I would be very happy if you come in with some comments on maybe the answers we have here. So if we go back to the presentation, I mentioned that I have another slide on lifelong learning, and I would like to finish off by emphasizing on the need to highlight the importance of lifelong learning. UNESCO has its own institute for lifelong learning, also based in Germany in Hamburg, and they highlight the importance of learning activities for people of all ages. Also looking at the life-wide context, so the family, you mentioned this, the school, the community, the workplace, and so on, and also learning through a modality of activities, short courses, qualifications, formal, non-formal, informal. Everything helps. Everything is important. We should not underestimate any of the modalities. Myself, like I can share my personal experience as well. I graduated in engineering, so I come from a background of science and mathematics, and after working for 2 years, almost 3 years actually, in a technical environment, I decided to move into teaching. So then I needed also to look for other skills to equip myself with the appropriate skills to be able to teach. After 14 years, now I moved into internationalization. And after 2 years here, I am questioning myself, but what skills am I missing? What support will I need to make this journey more meaningful so that I become more efficient and effective at work as well? And for me, learning to learn was crucial to navigate these transitions because I'm not using anymore what I learned for my engineering qualification, but I am using the metacognitive skills. I know how I learn. I know what motivates me. I know what I find challenging, and like this, I keep on learning without major difficulties. Of course, there are challenges. To finish off, I would like to share one final message to all of us here. Whatever your role you have, whether you come from, whether you are a student, whether you are an alumni, whether you are coming from a TVET provider or policymaker, let us prioritize skills development for all, and I emphasize for all. Let us continue learning. Let us advocate on the importance of quality education for all. Let us work together whenever we can, and let us provide the necessary support to have more change makers in our communities. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kenny Muscat. And I hope we really got a lot from the session because I did. Thank you for sharing all you did. And I'm so glad that you really went deep into the power of skills in driving social change. And now we'll be moving to the next speaker. And I'm sure you must be very excited as I am. We'll be inviting Idah Odeka. But just before that, also, if you have any questions for Kenny, or if you have any questions or comments from what you learned from Kenny, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A section. And after this presentation, we'll take the questions and answer. So let's invite now Idah Odeka, who is a previous last year's BeChangeMaker alumni. like myself. Thank you, Idah Odeka, and welcome on stage.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abayomi. Just as mentioned, my name is Idah Odeka. I am a BeChangeMaker alumnus, and I'm so happy to be here today to present on the power of skills in driving social change. But before I do that, I joined yesterday's sessions and they were very insightful. I actually got to also learn, and I'm here in the journey to share, and also continue learning with you. So one speaker yesterday that stood out for me was Grace Lang. She mainly spoke about purpose. So getting to know or find or determine your purpose in life. And she had 4 questions for us. And one was, what do you enjoy doing? 2 was, what are you good at? 3 was, what is something that you deeply care about? And the 4th one was, how do you want to serve the world? And answering these 4 questions help you to determine, what your purpose in life is, and basically how you can contribute to societal change. So here to celebrate all of us who are here, all be change makers, and all of us who inspire to be social entrepreneurs. We celebrate all of you. And thank you for UNESCO-UNEVOC for giving us this chance and this space to have a festival, celebrate ourselves, and also inspire social entrepreneurs. So thank you to Wild Skills, to HP Life, and of course to the BeChangeMaker team. So just to begin, the former presenter talked about various skills. He actually highlighted some skills that I have here. And I mainly considered social skills, soft skills, mainly because I tend to think that with social entrepreneurs, we really have to put ourselves into the shoes of the community that we want to create solutions for, and actually also involve them in this, in the creation of the solutions. So one important skill was systems thinking. And here, to begin with, you really need to identify your skills and strengths. So basically, like I just mentioned before, what are you good at, and what do you like doing? And that will actually inform you being more passionate to offering solutions to the community at large. So let me speak about the project that we launched, or rather pitched during BeChangeMaker 2024. And it was on biodegradable garbage bags for use of collection and composting of organic wastes. So this was mainly informed by, one day I was sitting reading a newspaper and I see a notice by National Environment Management Authority in Kenya about transitioning from use of plastic bags to use of biodegradable bags. And I saw a great opportunity in actually embracing bio-based bags in collecting of organic waste and using that to facilitate composting. And I realized that social challenges are interconnected. So it is good to understand that how social, economic, and environmental issues are interconnected. I realized that creating a solution around waste management, there are various stakeholders that you have to get involved with. And it is from waste collectors to waste handlers to the government and to basically everyone who disposes of waste. So getting to know who you're really targeting or creating solutions for is very important, and who you need to work with is also very important. Also knowing the root causes for the various problems that you are trying to offer solutions for is very important to having you build a solution that will be impactful. So we realized that most of the people who are affected by waste is mainly for those who live within the informal settlements in Kenya. And this is because they do not have right medium to actually collect their waste so that it can be disposed of or handled or recycled in a more sustainable manner. And then another root cause was lack of awareness, mainly because some people just do not think them disposing of waste wrongly is has some negative effect on the environment and even on their own health. So it's good to raise awareness and keep people more informed, get them to actually appreciate that improper waste handling is actually a problem and is something that they can actually contribute in creating solutions for. And every challenge is interconnected, so don't solve problems in silos. Make sure that you are in contact with everyone that your project or activity or business will affect, and find solutions that are more inclusive. And in designing solutions, we need to design holistic and long-term solutions. However, one time during a training session, one trainer mentioned that problems fall in love with the problem, do not fall in love with the solution. So this is mainly because solutions will have phases of transition. What you thought could be a solution to a problem now might not be the ideal solution to a problem 10 years to come. So we need to be, offer solutions that are holistic and long-term for now. However, have the mindset that later on you will be adding value to your solutions, and it's that you'll be adding value to your solutions, and always track lessons learned and improve them continuously. The second skill is on creative problem solving. I saw this as one of the responses when Muscat offered the chance for the questions. I saw some responses on creative problem solving. And this is very important because we need to come up with innovations that offer ideal solutions to problems. And I love the younger generation because we are very bold, and most of our solutions, we are very experimental and bold. Most of our solutions are out of the box thinking. And I see this a lot within the fashion industry here in Kenya. And I see most of us embracing eco-friendly fashion, upcycled fashion. It's very easy for us to create solutions or build businesses that are driven to be, to prioritize people and the planet. And we always have to remember that, profits are for the people. So it's good to prioritize people and the planet. So tackle problems with fresh out of the box thinking. This way you will be able to create more ideal solutions to problems, design new and inclusive models for sustainability and equity, embrace experimental and rapid learning. Because we are younger people, we are very agile. And for that reason, creating or rather experimenting is something that we embrace. We believe that it is good to create a solution now and build on it and make it better, as we continue through our journeys of entrepreneurship. And then lastly, leverage insights gained to foster ongoing improvements. The next skill that I believe is very ideal for driving social change is emotional intelligence. This is because you are creating solutions for a community. And one, you need to connect with people beyond data and statistics. This is you yourself, putting yourself in the shoes of, the community or the society that you're creating solutions for, and getting to know their stories, getting to know their struggles, getting to know what their dreams are, and encompassing all of these just so that you are creating a solution that is informed by the people who face challenges or problems. And then understand lived experiences, especially for those at the margins. Build inclusive solutions that reflect real community needs. This is very important because when you build a solution that, you build together with a community, they will always have a sense of belonging in these particular solutions. And for that reason, they will be responsible for the outcome or for the impact that the solution creates in their lives. And then always monitor progress and, improve now and again. Another important skill is on collaboration and networks. For a very long time, whenever I come across a challenge or a solution that I feel, it's impacting different people in different societies, I tend to ask myself, who else can be involved in, coming up with a solution for these particular problems? So I'm very passionate about environmental conservation and waste management. And this is a sector that intertwines so many stakeholders. And it is very important that when you're creating solutions that you co-create them with peers, with the various stakeholders, have their diverse inputs into, during the initial stages of creating a solution, and build trust and leverage collective expertise, drive change through coalition and not competition. It's very important that we get to learn to have long-lasting partnerships in our engagements and leverage varied expertise, cultures, and perspectives. And basically, I love BeChangeMaker, or this particular program, because it gives us an opportunity to network, to get to find ideas from other people, and also access new communities and mobilize collective action. So collaborations are very important, and there's always power in partnerships. And then the next skill is on advocacy and storytelling. We need to tell stories that, draw inspiration. So here I'll introduce a project or an initiative that I co-founded. It's called Just Fashion Transition. It was launched here in Nairobi, and it is mainly to create awareness on sustainable fashion or eco-friendly fashion, and also showcase, the opportunities within the textile waste management. And we have a social media page on our Instagram, and we use the Instagram page to basically voice and challenge status quo, but in a positive way. So Kenya is a great consumer of secondhand clothing, and between the financial year 2023-2024, Kenya imported about 206,580 tons of secondhand clothing, and this contributed to about contributed to government revenue of about 200 million US dollars. And we noticed that the secondhand market is such a great, economical contributor to our country. However, some of these items are not fully consumed, and they end up polluting the environment. And it is ideal that there should be someone who showcases, what these impacts look like, and bring people together to find a common solution. So we use our Instagram page to showcase that. We communicate complex issues with clarity and emotion. We mainly do that through our Instazine. So our Instazine is our Instagram magazine. So there we share best practices on handling textile waste. We also mobilize support action through storytelling, and we do this through holding of fashion events. And during our fashion installations, we showcase sustainable fashion designers. We showcase designers who are either upcycling, using organic fibers to produce their garments. And this way, you're able to tell, stories that will change mindsets of people on how they consume fashion and textile. And then we build strategic links, improving communication. Communication is very important for social entrepreneurs. You need to communicate to network, you need to communicate to market, whatever item that you're producing. Communication forms a very big chunk of, the kind of skills that any social entrepreneur needs. And optimize social media. We are young people, we use social media a lot. So that is one medium of communicating. And then the next social skill, or the next skill, is on adaptability and resilience. I do not know of any entrepreneur who did not face challenges in their journeys. Challenges come now and again, and they have formed part of, your everyday activities. However, we need to be anchored in purpose, and also, adaptable to possibilities. We need to embrace uncertainty as part of the journey. There's so many unforeseen challenges that come now and again. I remember yesterday, the last presenter talked about the fact that, when she started out, she was not 100% informed of, the legal matters and policies around medicine and medication, and she needed to research on these aspects. And every day there will be a new policy, there will be a new regulation, and you need to be updated on these kind of new regulations. Yeah, so there's always uncertainty in the journey of entrepreneurship, and it's always important that you embrace change and that you are always open-minded, stay flexible, responsive, and motivated. On the matter of motivation, I also remember a speaker from yesterday when he was asked about, his powerful daily habits, and he mentioned exercising as being one of them to keep him, insane. And yeah, it's very important that we identify what motivates us and use that as a way of, driving us to our daily activities. And above all, we need to learn, unlearn, and evolve with purpose. Entrepreneurship is a journey of learning and relearning and unlearning some of the things that, yeah. So one solution that you thought could be ideal today might not be the best solution tomorrow. And it's always good to be resilient and adaptable in each and every situation. And then the final one is on cultural competency. And it is very important that we acknowledge, especially in Africa and Asia, most of we are really, culture is a very important aspect of our livelihoods. And it is good that social entrepreneurs recognize and respect diversity in all forms, design solutions and, that are context aware and culturally grounded, build deeper and respectful engagements, and create systems where communities lead the way. When people actually own the process, they will also own the impact. Yeah, so those are some skills that I have gained through my entrepreneurship journey, and I hope they are also going to influence your journeys in one way or another. Above all, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Idah Odeka. Thank you so much. And I personally really enjoyed the session. I love the fact that you were really open to share, what you as an entrepreneur and change maker have actually gone through. And now it's time for questions and answers. So if you have any questions, you can just feel free to quickly use the Q&A section. But can I quickly ask, let me start with Kenny. Let me start with Kenny. So Kenny, just a question. Given the rapid pace of technological change, is it actually realistic to expect alone that skills development alone can adequately prepare an individual for the future of work? Yes.
Thank you, Abayomi, for this question. Let me focus on two parts here. The first part that you're mentioning, we have complex social problems, and it's very important to acknowledge these. And I can give here a few examples. Like, for example, the divide that we have. We have super rich people that don't need the money that they have versus people that are very poor. They don't even have food to eat. We have conflicts in different parts of the world. And we have also, I would say, lack of respect for the environment. We still don't understand that we cannot mess up with the environment because our lives are going to be worse in the future. And is it realistic? Is it skills development? Is this enough to address these complex social issues? I would say that skills development help, and they help a lot. But I think also that skills development has to be seen in the wider context of education. Oftentimes, technical and vocational education training, TVET, is reduced to training. So training a person to perform a task. But there is a reason why we refer to TVET and not just training, because there is also the education component. So we need to make sure that we invest more in education so that we understand our history, we understand how in the past issues were solved, how we can work together. And I really liked Idah's presentation here and focusing on the importance of collaboration in different things that we do. So yes, skills development in the context of education helps to partly address the social issues that we are facing. And you also referred to technology. Technology can help us a lot. Technology can help us to address climate change, but then it's up to us to use technology well, because we have the resources, we have the means, we have the technology, but we are not giving the right priorities, making the right decisions on the use of technology. I hope I answered at least part of your question here.
Yes, awesome. I'm really happy for the response you gave. And let me just quickly ask Idah Odeka. So like as an entrepreneur and the change maker that you have been, and you have shared very wonderful skills in driving social change. But I want to ask, what skill would you say personally for you was difficult to master, and what steps did you actually take to push yourself to see that you actually master those skills?
Okay, I think it's systems thinking, because one, I really need to be up to date in regards to regulations and in regards to policies that inform, different sectors. For example, here in Kenya, the waste management is mandated to be handled by National Environment Management Authority, and there's always new and upcoming policies and regulations now and again. So getting to be aware of, the environmental, societal regulation environments is very, very ideal. The challenge here is sometimes it's never, if you do not get to dig in, it's not something that you're going to find on social media, which is something that we interact now and again with. You need to be aware of, bills that are actually out in Parliament. You need to be aware of notices that are coming here now and again. They're always gazetted, they're always, on daily newspaper and such. So getting to be aware of how, various sectors inform a solution was the challenge. But once you get to know who the stakeholders are, it is easy to maneuver that, because you will always be in the right spaces and in the right places with the right people to get to know what is, happening and what is the updates of today and tomorrow that will affect, your business or your solution.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you to all our facilitators. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Idah Odeka. Yes, thank you so much for sharing all you did. Very awesome. And I'm very happy that we had the session. And I hope to our audience and the participants, I hope you really learned a thing or two, because I did. And I'm very happy to be part of this discussion. So thank you.